Hey, I'm Aris Eminema, creator of the High Potential Talent Summit, and thank you for watching this Q&A replay. We recorded this live with one of our amazing attendees, Maria, who's already coming to the summit. For those who are curious about the summit but hadn't yet bought their ticket, you'll hear us talk honestly about the pressures leaders are facing today and how the summit is designed to address them and ultimately support high performing and high potential leadership talent. I am joined by two brilliant panelists. I have Richard Turrell, who's a marketing director at Handle Recruitment, and Handle have partnered with us this year. And they know exactly what growing companies are looking for in their people. And then I have the fabulous Aimee Bateman, who is a career strategist, self-leadership coach, and the former founder of the UK's venture-backed edtech company Career Cake, voted UK's #1 career development platform. Aimee is also delivering a masterclass at this year's summit on developing a coaching mindset, which you'll hear more about in this chat. After you've watched it, if you still got any questions, if you still got any questions, drop me an email because I'm not recording this intro again. At hello@arroteminu.com, or you can go on retro and just pick up the phone and give me a call on 0203 189 1784. This is the reality of recording content these days. There's more than one take. Enjoy the Q&A. Take care. Bye bye. Leadership is really, really hard and it's
Mhm.
overwhelming and it's isolating. And you know, when they say, oh, it's lonely at the top, and you think, oh, that's a bit bougie because it's not, but it actually really is. And I found that when I was running my business, Diva Apprenticeships, you know, the pressure can feel relentless. There's constant decisions, there's shifting
Mhm.
priorities. And if you really want to have that people culture where everyone feels, seen, heard, and valued, that does take, it takes time and it takes energy. And so I guess the summit for me, especially when coming out of my business, it was about creating a space where we could look at what leading today means and what it looks like in
Mhm.
practice, not just about knowing what to do, but also about knowing who you are as you lead, because who you are as an individual has a huge impact on
Mhm.
how you lead your business. And it really, at least for me, it really showed me who I was as a person and put shone a microscope, is that microscope spotlight rather, on all my
Yeah.
areas of development. And so now I'm just like on a mini mission to,
Mhm.
to kind of, I guess, create a space where leaders can think a little bit more about how they lead and what's required of them. And there's lots of stuff out there that talks about the nuts and bolts, the KPIs, the business, the technical aspects. But that this is much more about what, if I was to put it in a skills language, it would be the soft skills, which are the foundational skills, which are the
Mhm.
skills that I think are going to be really crucial as we move into this very fast technological age that is driven by AI.
Mhm.
And so I guess the summit is really designed very much in a sense to complement that kind of L&D and training that leaders and managers have, not to compete with it, but to run alongside with it. So we're not really repeating content, we're deepening, I would say, and
Mhm.
applying what we're learning, but in a room full of peers. And because I have an apprenticeship background, also because I learned through doing is practical. So I don't like, it's not
Same.
just theory talking about it. I mean, Aimee, you were there last year. You chaired our panel, Paths to Paths to C-suite last year. What stood out for you? And why did you say yes?
When firstly, because I'm passionate about leadership, having started my own company when I was about 30, I ran that business, scaled it and sold it in 2022 with no leadership training or really just started by hiring a load of my mates and then just hoping for the best. And over that decade, made all the mistakes and hopefully did some things right too. So I'm obsessed with this topic now. Um, because I genuinely believe you can't build anything beautiful without bringing people on the ride with you and providing an environment for them to thrive. But that always starts with you. So I specialize in self leadership. That's kind of my area of expertise and passion, really. Last year, what I got out of it so much was just I think for me, it was just the honesty in the room. And I don't know whether that's
Mm.
just because of the people that you attract, Arit, the people that you know in your network and stuff, but there was nobody they were sometimes I've been to leadership events and I'm sure we can all attest to this, but it's sometimes just a little bit of a brag fest. And it's a bit like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm a leader in this and and everybody's perfect. And then you can go away feeling a little bit like, oh, well, yeah, I now feel even worse than before when I came. But at the session last year, the whole day was just about just people being really honest, genuinely caring about each other. It was just a really beautiful room to be in, and it felt really safe and really inspiring. And this, yeah, just the speakers stood out for me. I feel like a whole notebook. Um, yeah, even though I went to sort of share insights, I came away with a lot more. So I had to be involved again this year.
And it's your first time, isn't it, Richard? Because Handel have partnered with the summit this year. What made you want to get involved?
As a business, the main draw really was that the summit creates this incredible space, and it's a space for people to ask questions, build resilience, seek clarity, and hopefully thrive as a collective. And a lot of events promise that, but we spoke to a few delegates that attended last year's, and the hype that's built up around this summit actually happens and it's delivered. And we love bringing lovely people together. And this just felt like a great opportunity to support an amazing event where those lovely people are being brought together and we can just be part of it.
I don't think there was many people there that I didn't speak to or have gone on to either collaborate with or work with or have conversations with. My favorite thing about the whole thing was that it was really intimate and it wasn't this massive faceless event, but I loved the table work, where we were all like breaking out on our tables. We were able to dive really deep into topics. Yeah, I absolutely loved that. So what about some of the speakers this year, Arit? Tell us a little bit more about who you've got this year.
Well, this year we have this amazing woman, Sarah de Lagarde. She's opening our summit. Honestly, I heard her TED talk earlier this year when she delivered it at the London Business School. Honestly, you could hear a pin drop in the room. Sarah literally is one in a million. She shared this as part of a presentation. She had three slides up, three images, August, September, no, August, September, October 2022. The first is her August. She's at the top of Mount Kilimanjaro with her husband, like top of the world, as it were. And then the next is a picture of a tube station. And she was involved in a horrific accident that took off her right arm and her right leg. So she's like, I mean, that is one in a million to be hit by a train twice in one go. And then, but it was really about the decisions that she made as a result of that. Like in the moment, she decided to live because she has two girls. Then she made the decision she wanted to be home for Christmas. And she talked about entering into this new world of amputees, but also leaving a world behind her. And I guess what really struck me about her story, because she ended up summiting Mount Kilimanjaro again, I think it was a year to the date or 2 years to the date. And it just spoke to me about, because we talk about wanting authenticity and vulnerability in leadership, but she kind of just demonstrates what that looks like on a very practical level. So she's opening up the summit. And then we are having a masterclass that looks around intergenerational diverse teams. And we've got Jenny Bigham, who's the founder of the Seven Stars Agency, and they've won so many awards for building people-centered cultures. That's what she's super passionate about. And her team is quite young, millennials and Gen Zs. And I know that's something that, leaders and managers are grappling with. Like, how do you build, you've got five generations in the workforce. How do we kind of ensure that everybody is working in synergy. So she's on that panel along with Hannah, who's a global DE&I expert. And then we've got a session, we've got your session, Aimee, which you can talk about developing a coaching mindset so you can get out of doing for your team and really empower them to do the job that only they can do. And you can do the job only you can do, as mentioned at the summit last year. We've got a session around with Jenny Garrett, who's talking about communicating and influencing, like understanding one, how you come across when you communicate, who you need to influence, and how do you influence them. And Danny Wallace will be delivering a really engaging session on creating behavioral change. She is such an amazing ball of energy and has got
Absolutely. I can't wait.
yeah, she's brilliant. And we've got a panel with James Ainscough, who's the CEO of the Royal Albert Hall, and he's on this panel, a fireside chat, which Emma from Handel will be chairing, around how you build strategy and still manage the day-to-day, kind of fighting fires. And he'll be joined by Kelly Goodship, who's the managing director of WOW. And actually, Paul, the co-founder of WOW, came to the summit last year and
He
spoke.
did. He was
Yeah,
fantastic. Yeah,
yes,
great
he's
guy.
handed over the reins now to Kelly, and she started the business as a junior accountant. And so she's gone from like buddy to boss to now running the business. So, if that is perfect person to have on a panel. And also
Wow.
they're fully hybrid now. So and they've embedded AI in part of their business. So it's going to be looking at how do you manage that hybrid workforce as well, and still keep engagement, still keep the energy. And then we have our Past to C-suite panel, which is with Ade Rawcliffe, who's the Chief People Officer from ITV, and Abigail Pogsworth, who's the incoming CEO of the Barbican. And our Past to C-suite panel, which I'll be chairing this year, is just it's I think it was our of one of the top scoring ones last year, because it's just hearing from CEOs and people at that C-suite level, like what is it like to sit in that seat, not just to get there, but to stay there and to continue in
Yeah.
that. What are you going to cover in your session, Aimee?
Anyone can lead when things are good, but leading when you have got a lot of stuff going on, whether it's a challenging market or whether you're just going through some stuff yourself and there's a lot of stuff going on at home, or, health wise, or menopause, or, whatever is going on, you still want to show up as the best version of you, right? And the leader that your people deserve. And that takes work. The best leaders know that this is a journey that you're always working towards. So, those moments where you might speak up in a meeting and then think, gosh, why did I say that? Or nobody got that joke, or I sounded like a right idiot then, nobody understood. But then rather than go back to your team and be the leader that they need, you spend all day and possibly the day after worrying about it. And in this, that's something that all leaders do, no matter what stage you're at. So what could you do in that moment? Well, I've got a couple of things that can take 5 minutes in that moment that can take you from a negative to a positive. So real actionable stuff that you can bring to the workplace that will help you power through. And then the last thing that I want to do is share my favorite piece of work, which is very much career strategy, where career strategy meets self-discovery. So questions where you can, as a leader, re-meet yourself on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis, and just reconnect to who you are and why you do what you do when you have to be so many things to so many people in the workplace and at home. Having that moment where you can check in and go, who am I? What is my leadership identity, and why does it matter? Because things can get quite noisy sometimes. So those little check-ins are really important. So they're the three aspects that I'll be bringing to my session, and I cannot wait.
Because what you're saying there just blown my mind, just sounds incredible. Obviously, I'm a newbie this year. The thing that we're getting asked the most is, who else is going to be in the room? Is it the right room for them to be part of? So I don't know who's best, Arit or Aimee, just to probably explain the sorts of people that are there, just so we can make sure that we invite more incredible people.
In terms of job roles, who attended last year were senior VPs. We had a lot of senior managers, heads of, general managers. We had and they were in different, could be operations, HR, could be in marketing, right across the kind of the value chain, if you want, accounts as well. We had. But it tends to be those who have people leading their teams. And it tends to be for people who have individuals reporting into them. And they were a mix. So some people had been leading for a while, but needed a refresher. Some people had been, most of the people in the room straddled leadership and management. So because they are two different roles, but people tend to be doing both. So we had people in the room who fit into that category. So it's not really a new entrant or necessarily like I've never managed people before. It tended to be I'm in this room, or I'm about to step into this kind of leadership management room and I need the tools to be able to do that effectively, or my team dynamic is shifting and I'm not, what I learned before isn't really helping me navigate the shift in needs and dynamics today.
I would definitely recommend that anybody that's coming along to the event to actually take some time and intentionally think about the one or two key things that they have struggled with over the last 2, 3, 4 months. What was the one thing that kept you awake at night? What was the one thing that you want to improve on, so that when you're coming to this event, you can be really intentional about your learnings. Of course, none of us know, we don't know the things that we don't know, right? So we're going to come away with insights that we didn't even know that we needed. And that's that growth mindset, right? That's about rocking up and being open to the learnings. But to go with an intentional lesson that you want to learn and to seek that out throughout the day. And then at the end of the day, you can go, do I feel like I know more about this one thing than I did yesterday? And if you're bringing your team with you, I would encourage you to ask them to do some self-reflection work before they attend the event, because they will find it. You will find that learning if you're looking for it.
Have you got any questions, Maria? Yeah, Maria.
Not necessarily questions, but just a point that for our team that's attending, we've just done some team leader training, and they covered the leader management side of it. So I think for the ones that are coming, have kind of got to that point where they are more managers than leaders, and the balance needs to change a little bit. So I think for us, this summit's going to be really good to try and get the more leadership skills out of us, rather than our team coming to us with an issue and we tell them how to fix it, rather than doing the coaching of what do you think and what are your rights. So that's the kind of bit I think with our team is the most we're going to get from it, is the balancing of the manager leader hat, because a lot of people assume they're the same role. And they're really not. With with only 60 people coming, so if they're panels, is it the 60 people watching the same panel, or is it like an alternate throughout the day?
Yeah, so everybody is in the same, you'll get the same content throughout the day.
And do we get to ask questions whilst the panels are going on, or are they pre-questions to the...
Oh no, we want your questions. This is like, we have questions obviously to put to the guests, but this is about the people in the room getting the information that they need. So when the hands are raised, the mic goes round and the questions are asked.
Yeah, the people with the mics last year were like around the room.
Running around.
They couldn't catch up with anyone. Yeah, but the room, it was so interactive. It was awesome.
Within Key, we're also doing a next generation leader training course, like an internal one.
Right, okay.
And it's for the members of staff that want to progress into leaders, managers throughout the company. And it's for them to get an idea of what the company looks like on the business front as such, rather than just what they see from their role. So it gives them an insight into all parts of the business. But for me, I'll be sitting in when they do their tasks. I'll be the one observing. So
Right.
it'll be nice from this summit to try and get some bits I can take with me when I'm observing the tasks that they're carrying out, to identify the leadership and management skills that they're hopefully going to show within these tasks. So hopefully that the summit will help with that, because I think that kicks off November as well. So it might just, I think the first task is just before this summit. So maybe I can get some bits from the first task that I can then ask some questions in the summit that will help me help them as such as well. So that'd be really good. I think with us as well, because it's nice that it's within the creative side, because with a lot of training we've done in the past hasn't quite fit our business model and how we, because we're in the music industries, we're not very corporate.
Yes.
And some things need to be adjusted, and how you deal with people. So I think it's nice that if there's quite a few other creative industries there as well, that hopefully will be on the same level and have similar ideas.
Yeah, we have more. I haven't got the guest list in front of me now, but I think Universal Music, we have some people from there coming. We have people from PPL, someone come from PPL. We have a couple of music charities will be
You had
there.
AIM there last year, didn't you?
Yeah, we did have AIM last
Oh,
year.
fun.
We had Blue Raincoat last year. Um, yeah, so there's a wide mix, but there's also that cross networking as well. Do you know, because with film, TV, even though they're different parts, obviously, of the creative industries, there's so many different similarities in terms of the business size. A lot of companies are micro and small businesses. They can be quite reactive depending on, whatever's being greenlit. In the workforce can also be based heavily on freelance, and so there's lots of crossover, in which I think is always good for learning as well. Like, I like to know what other people are doing and see if I can rob and replicate that for myself too. So yeah. Okay, well, we have reached our time. So you are you have converted, you have your ticket, Maria. So I'm really pleased about that. But for those of you who are watching, you know that thing that you're meant to do, but then you didn't do it and you end up kicking yourself. Don't let that be this.